Welcome back to our class. In our class, we are discussing about the applications of Ampere circuital law, and already we have discussed the application of Ampere circuital law to the case of a solenoid, straight solenoid, and here our aim is to find the magnetic field due to a toroidal solenoid. Then question arises, what is a toroidal solenoid or toroid? Already have told that a straight solenoid is a spring like wire, and if the two ends of the solenoid, straight solenoid, is bent to touch each other, then the solenoid formed is known as a toroid. So, a toroid is an anchor ring. A toroid is an anchor ring of a solenoid which has a large number of turns of a metallic wire wound. And what is a toroid? Now, a solenoid bent into the form of a closed ring is known as a toroid. So, here this one is the toroidal solenoid. Here this one is the toroidal solenoid, and in this case the current is flowing through the solenoid in the clockwise direction, and here in the figure as shown there are three dotted lines 1, 2 and 3. The number 1 dotted line is inside the toroid in the open space, and number 2 dotted line is within the solenoid, whereas the number 3 dotted line is outside the solenoid. And our aim is to find the magnetic field strength due to such a type of toroid in different cases, like 3 cases at the point P, which is interior to the toroid inside the open space, and number 2 is inside the toroid, that is means within the toroidal coil, and number 3 is the point R, which is outside the toroid. So, let us discuss and apply Ampere circuital law to all these 3 cases and find the magnitude of the field strength at these points one by one. So, let us start with number 1 point. Toroidal solenoid is an anchor ring of a number of metallic turns wound if the two ends of a straight solenoid are joined together by forming a circular loop of the solenoid, then it is a toroid. Or toroidal solenoid. The magnetic field B has a constant magnitude everywhere inside the toroid. the magnetic field has a constant magnitude inside the toroid, and the direction of the magnetic field inside the toroid is clockwise as per the right hand thumb rule. The direction of the magnetic field inside the toroid is clockwise as shown as per the right hand thumb rule. Here what we have shown, there are 3 Amperian loops where we have to find the magnitude of a magnetic field strength due to the toroid. As shown here, there are 3 Amperian loop, 1, 2 and 3, on which there are 3 points P, Q and R. P, Q and R, where we have to calculate the field. So, let us discuss one by one. Now, let us calculate the magnitude of field strength at an interior point P having distance from the center R1, and it is within the open space of the toroid. Let the point P be inside the toroid in the open space on the Amperian circle of radius R1, and here according to our Ampere circuital law we can write the line integral of the magnetic field strength is equal to mu 0 times the total current. Here according to Ampere's circuital law, integration B vector or dl vector is equal to mu 0 I, which implies it is integration B dl equal to mu 0 I, implies B integration of dl from 0 to 2 pi r1, because the radius of that Amperian circle is R1. So, the limit of limitation is from 0 to 2 pi R1, which is mu 0 I, implies B into 2 pi R1 equal to mu 0 I, which implies B equal to mu 0 I by 2 pi R1. But at P there is no current, so I equal to 0, which implies B1 equal to 0. That means there is no field in the open space of the toroid. Again, we have to find the magnitude of a field strength at the point Q, which lies within the toroid. Now, let us calculate the magnitude of a magnetic field strength at the point Q, which is at a distance of r from the center, and that point Q lies inside the toroid. And in this case, we can apply Ampere's circuital law. Applying Ampere's circuital law, we can write integration B vector dot dl vector equal to mu 0 I, which implies integration of B dl equal to mu 0 I, implies B integration 0 to 2 pi r, because we have taken the point Q to be at a distance of r from the center. So, the limit of integration will be from 0 to 2 pi r dl, and it is equal to mu 0 I, which implies B into 2 pi r equal to mu 0 I, implies B equal to mu 0 I by 2 pi r. This is the expression for the magnetic field strength at the point Q lying within the toroid. And if capital N equal to 2 pi r n equal to total number of turns of the toroid, then B will be how much? N into mu 0 I by 2 pi r, because the magnetic field strength will increase n times, and so in place of n we can write 2 pi r into n into mu 0 I divided by 2 pi r, which implies B is equal to mu 0 n I. This is the expression for the magnitude of a field strength at a point lying within the toroid, and it is found to be same as before what we have obtained in case of straight solenoid. And the third point is to calculate the magnitude of field strength at the point R, which lies outside the toroid. Now, we have to find the magnitude of a field strength at the point R which lies outside the toroid. In this case, if we consider the point R on the Amperian circle as shown on the dotted line 3, every turn will pass twice. Once it enters into the toroid and at the same time it will go away from the toroid, and if we will take the inside to be positive and the outside to be negative, as a result the net current will cancel and there will be no current at here. So that applying Ampere's circuital law, we get no field strength at the point R. Here, as the point R lies on the Amperian circle 3 at a distance of R3, hence the net current enclosed by this circle is 0, as the point lies outside the toroid. So, I equal to 0. Now, applying Ampere's circuital law, we get integration B dot dl equal to mu 0 I, which implies B integration of dl equal to mu 0 I implies B into L, and that is 2 pi R3, which is equal to mu 0 I implies B is equal to mu 0 I by 2 pi R3, but I is equal to 0. So, B equal to 0. That means there is no field strength at any point outside a toroid. So, now hereby we finish two applications of Ampere's circuital law. One is in case of a straight solenoid and the second one is the case of toroidal solenoid. Now, let us find the field strength at a point on the Helmholtz coil. Helmholtz coil. What is a Helmholtz coil? It is a device for producing a region of nearly uniform magnetic field. It is a region producing, it is a device producing a region of a nearly uniform magnetic field. As we have seen in case of a circular coil carrying current, if we are asked to find the magnitude of the field strength at a point on the axis of the circular coil, then that magnitude of the field strength depends inversely on the distance of the point of observation from the center of the circular coil. As the distance of the point of observation increases from the center of the circular coil, then the strength of the magnetic field decreases. So, in that case, if a point is considered between two coils of identical radius and everything, then the field at the point of observation between these two circular coils will be of uniform strength, and such type of device consisting of two identical circles carrying current coaxially mounted can be considered as Helmholtz coil. Helmholtz is the name of the scientist and the coil is named after him. So, let us find the condition at which we get a uniform field in a Helmholtz coil. So, a Helmholtz coil is a device used to produce a region of nearly uniform magnetic field, and it consists of two identical circular magnetic coils on the same axis. It consists of two identical circular magnetic coils mounted coaxially. Each coil carries an equal electric current in the same direction. Each coil carries equal current in the same direction, and the distance of separation between the two coils is equal to half the radius of each coil. The distance between the two coils is equal to half the distance between the two coils is equal to the radius of each coil. That means, in case of a Helmholtz coil, if it is one coil, it is another coil, both are coaxially mounted, that means having same axis and having same radius. Let the radius can be written as A, because in our previous case, while we are considering the magnitude of strength due to circular coil, we have taken the radius to be A, and this distance is equal to the radius of each coil. And if we consider a point P at the midpoint of the line joining this, then the distance will be A by 2. Though it seems to be more than A, but actually this distance is equal to the radius of each circle. Besides creating magnetic fields, Helmholtz coils are used in scientific apparatus to cancel the external magnetic field, that is the field due to earth. Besides creating uniform magnetic field, this coil is used to cancel the effect of external magnetic field, that is due to the Earth's field. When the distance of separation between the two coils is equal to the radius of the coil, then the rate of change of magnetic field at the midpoint vanishes. From the beginning, while we are constructing the Helmholtz coil, we have taken the distance between the two coils to be equal to the radius of each coil, and under this condition, the time rate of change of magnetic field at the midpoint, that is at the point P, vanishes. That means, as the distance between the two coils is equal to the radius of each circle, hence at the midpoint the magnitude of field strength is constant, because our intention is to produce a uniform field due to Helmholtz coil, and the condition for producing uniform field or constant field is the distance should be equal to the radius of the each coil. Now, since the sign of the rate of change of field due to the two coils are opposite to each other, hence the net rate of change of field due to both the coils is 0, because from the beginning in constructing the Helmholtz coil, we have taken the currents in both the coils to be moving along this, flowing along the same direction. Hence, the net field will be 0 at the midpoint, indicating that the resultant field is constant. Since the signs of the rate of change of field due to the two coils are equal and opposite, hence they cancel each other, indicating that the resultant field is constant. So, what we know from the field strength obtained in case of the point lying on the axis of a circular coil, but from the expression of magnetic field at the point on the axis of a circular coil, we know that B is equal to mu 0 by 4 pi 2 pi n I a square divided by a square plus x square whole to the power 3 by 2. Now, the net field due to both the coils at P will be double that of this one, and if we take this as B1, so the net field, now the net field due to both the coils will be B is equal to 2 into B1, which is equal to 2 into mu 0 by 4 pi into 2 pi n I a square by a square plus x square whole to the power 3 by 2, which implies B equal to 4 pi get cancelled, it will be mu 0 n I a square divided by a square plus x square whole to the power 3 by 2, and mu 0 is constant, n is constant, I and a all are constant. So, this can be written as a square plus x square whole to the power 3 by 2, where k is equal to mu 0 n I a square is equal to constant. Now, taking the time derivative of this equation, we can write, now taking the derivative we get dB by dx equal to minus 3kx into a square plus x square to the power minus 5 by 2, and again differentiating we get d square b by dx square equal to minus 3k into a square minus 4x square whole into a square plus x square to the power minus 7 by 2. If dB by dx is equal to constant, then d square b by dx square will vanish. For dB by dx to be constant, d square b by dx square will be equal to 0. So, from this equation we can write this much will be 0, which implies a square minus 4x square equal to 0, implies a square is equal to 4x square, and implies a equal to plus minus 2x, and implies x is equal to plus minus a by 2. But in case of distance, we cannot take the negative value, for which the negative value is not possible. So, x is equal to a by 2. This is the condition in case of Helmholtz coil, where we can get a uniform field inside the Helmholtz coil. Here I finish the applications of Ampere's circuital law. Many thanks.